Good afternoon from dry Seattle. From the KUOW newsroom, this is Seattle Now. I'm Paige Browning with a roundup of today's top stories. It's Wednesday, January 14th. Starting with President Trump spending more attention on girls' sports. And now schools here are getting heat. The U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights has announced it's investigating 4 school districts in Washington state for alleged Title IX violations. Noelle Gasca has the latest.
Cheney Public Schools, the Sultan School District, Tacoma Public Schools, and Vancouver Public Schools are just 4 of the 18 educational entities nationwide under investigation. The office alleges that the districts maintain policies or practices that discriminate on the basis of sex by allowing students to participate in sports based on their gender identity, not biological sex. And that those policies put the safety and equal opportunities of women in educational programs and activities at risk. A spokesperson for Cheney Public Schools told KUOW that they are aware of the investigation and the district does plan to cooperate. The other 3 districts did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Noelle Gasca, KUOW News.
Washington state's legislature will not debate the rights of students to play sports during this session, but we're keeping an eye on a lot of other action as the session starts. It's day 3 today, and Republicans are not feeling optimistic. Scott Greenstone checked in with them.
A year ago, Republicans were pleasantly surprised by new Governor Bob Ferguson, who, in his inauguration speech, promised to reform government and work with them.
We're definitely not there now.
Senate Republican leader John Braun is now criticizing the governor, a Democrat, for endorsing an income tax on people who make more than $1 million a year. While Ferguson supports some Republican-sponsored legislation this session, conservative leadership no longer feels they have an ally in the governor's mansion. Drew Stokesbury is House Republican leader.
I guess we will never know which Bob Ferguson we're getting any day of the week.
Republicans haven't controlled any of the 3 branches of state government for nearly a decade. Scott Greenstone, KUOW News.
It's still early in the session, but debate has already started on whether law enforcement can cover their face while on duty. A proposed bill would require police and federal agents to show their faces while they're interacting with the public. The Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs has come out against the proposal, saying current law already requires law enforcement to be reasonably identifiable. On the environment beat today, a climate conundrum for our governor. The state's facing severe budget pressures. So now Washington Governor Bob Ferguson wants to slash spending on climate change. John Ryan reports.
The Swinomish tribe has been installing solar panels on tribal homes and offices thanks to funding from the state's biggest polluters. Big businesses have been paying for their carbon emissions through state-run auctions of pollution permits. Swinomish Tribal Chair Steve Edwards says that state funding has helped the tribe start to turn away from fossil fuels.
Without those funds, we wouldn't be close to where we are today.
Governor Ferguson wants to redirect much of the funding from carbon auctions so the state can keep providing sales tax refunds for working families. The state's carbon auctions make big money, more than $1 billion a year. Proceeds have gone mostly to fight climate change or help communities hard hit by pollution. Legislators are just starting to debate how the state should address its various budget woes. John Ryan, KUOW News.
A local politics note today that conservative media has been circulating widely. Mayor Katie Wilson has to pay $250 for a campaign finance violation. Seattle's Ethics and Election Commission found last month that Wilson failed to report child care services provided by her parents, determining that counted as in-kind campaign contributions. A seat is about to come empty in a very important role, federal prosecutor for Western Washington. So today, the chief district judge in Western Washington said the court plans to appoint someone. That's because the Trump administration's appointee wasn't confirmed by the U.S. Senate in time. Amy Radel explains.
Charles Neal Floyd has served as interim U.S. attorney in Seattle since October. Now the federal district court will appoint someone to the office since Floyd's term is expiring. Brian Moran served as U.S. attorney in Seattle under the first Trump administration. He says the court could reappoint Floyd if he chooses to apply.
The clock's run out, and the court's just signaling that they're going to take that role seriously, and they'll look at all candidates.
Floyd hasn't yet responded to a request for comment. In eastern Washington, the court declined to intervene when interim U.S. Attorney Pete Serrano's term ran out last year. In that case, Attorney General Pam Bondi kept Serrano in place under a new title. Amy Radel, KUOW News.
We have a KUOW investigation out today. It found that when Seattle Public Schools rebuilt Rainier Beach High School, it skipped some recommended safety steps to keep methane gas out of the building. Ann Dornfeld reports.
When the $300 million construction project began, engineers told the district they'd found methane at the explosive level in at least one spot in the peat soil. Methane explosions in buildings are rare, but engineers recommended the district follow the standard federal safety protocol. The district did follow one recommendation, installing underground vents to funnel methane away from the school. But KUOW found that the district did not follow engineers' plan to seal the foundation with a specialized layer to prevent methane intrusion. And while engineers said the district should start methane testing before Rainier Beach opened to students last April, the district only started testing last month after KUOW inquired. A spokesperson said the district found no methane at the school. Ann Dornfeld, KUOW News.
We'll stay with schools for a minute. Can you guess how much time students use their smartphones while at school? A new study from the University of Washington finds teenagers use them for more than an hour on average, largely to access social media. Researchers collected smartphone data from hundreds of students from across the nation. It didn't really surprise UW pediatrician Dimitri Christakis, but he says it's concerning.
The apps on these phones are designed to be addictive. We know that they can lead to depression, to anxiety, to body image concerns, to sleep disturbances. So overuse of cell phones, we already know to be a problem.
UW researchers say at least 32 states require school districts to ban or restrict cell phone use on campuses. In Washington, it's up to districts to set the policy. Some money notes today. The Gates Foundation plans to spend more this coming year than it ever has. The Seattle-based foundation announced today it'll spend a record $9 billion, primarily on global health, including women's health, vaccine development, and polio eradication. It marks the start of rapid spending before the foundation ultimately shuts down operations in 2045. The cost to buy a home continues to rise in Washington state. So how could we make housing less expensive? For that, we turn to Joshua McNichols, who says the state legislature has an idea.
People have long assumed tiny apartments and condos were the cheapest homes you could build, but there's a much cheaper option, an RV parked in someone's backyard. An RV can cost $50,000 to $75,000, plus $10,000 to $15,000 for utility hookups. That's less than half the cost to build the tiniest apartment. Right now, living full-time in a home like that is illegal in many parts of Washington, but House Bill 1443 would change that. In Portland, a similar law created a robust new housing marketplace. Homeowners develop RV spots and rent them to people with RVs or tiny homes on wheels. Others house caregivers, nannies, seniors, and older children. Critics worry this housing form could strain sewer lines and water mains. Joshua McNichols, KUOW News.
And finally today, the excitement is building for Seahawks fans. There are some tickets available for the Seahawks playoff game this Saturday, but they are pricey. As of this afternoon, the cheapest the team is selling is $470.
Turn down for what?
But for that price, you will get to see rapper and producer Lil Jon. He's performing a halftime show for the divisional round game against the 49ers. Next time on Seattle Now, we'll talk with an immigration attorney about what rights and civil liberties people have when it comes to federal law enforcement. Hear more Thursday morning. That's all for today from the KUOW Newsroom in Seattle. Our producer is Andy Hurst, and I'm Paige Browning. Seattle Now and KUOW are members of the NPR network. See ya.